call it this rolling admissions. So that means that rather than wait until all of their data is collected, they're giving it to MedSafe as they go along, and so MedSafe can evaluate it rather than in one go as they're progressing. So this means that it will speed up the process. But obviously the data has to be good, right? The data has to show that they're safe and effective. And so obviously they won't get authorization if they don't pass that. And then it's a case of manufacturing and delivery, right? This is the whole world is after these vaccines. And actually one of the really, I think, distressing things that has happened over the last month or so was companies basically saying that they won't allow a couple of different countries like India and South Africa to manufacture the vaccine outside of the kind of what do you call it when you have the patent system, right? So that means it will slow down production and means there's less access, especially to those countries that aren't able to compete and buy doses, which is a bit distressing.
Yeah, there is an initiative to get vaccines to poor countries, and New Zealand, it's been announced, will make a $10 million contribution to what's called the COVAX Facility Advanced Market Commitment, which is supporting equitable global access. So that's us putting our hand up, is it, and saying we're trying to do the right thing here.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, COVAX has got this portfolio where they are making agreements with lots of different companies, and what different countries that are able to are doing is putting money into that to say that they can secure some doses for themselves, but also secure doses for other countries that couldn't afford to buy them on the open market. So it's absolutely right that New Zealand should be contributing to this, just as we should be, taking care of our Pacific neighbours. But there are definitely countries that are not doing, I think, what they could be doing given the resources they have.
How much of a logistical challenge is it going to be to take these new vaccines, bearing in mind they've got to be stored at a very low temperature and roll them out as fast as we're hoping to roll them out? It's going to need probably some systems that we've never really used before.
Well, so only one of the vaccines needs that low temperature. So that's another good thing about the portfolio is that we have vaccines. Actually, the vast majority of our doses are going to be vaccines that are very similar to the ones that we normally get for our normal immunisation schedule. So that's not going to be such a big deal, but it is going to be a big deal. Normally we have a childhood vaccination schedule, where we have children at a certain age coming and getting vaccinated. We obviously have the flu schedule where every year at a certain time of year, more people come. I mean, this is going to be all of us, right? So it is going to be a real logistical, I'm not going to say nightmare, but an issue that's going to be not unsolvable, but it just means that, we need to wait our turn, basically, have patience. Lots and lots of people are being trained up to be, to be able to give the vaccines. So I imagine they'll be probably giving them in lots of different places as well. So we might end up being able to get them at more places than just your, GP, which is a bit like they rolled out with the testing and stuff. And then it's also just making sure that they have all of the, we have a really good system in place to record if anybody has any bad reactions to it. Because we have to remember that we need to be collecting all of the information around, who gets it and what happens to them, to be making sure that they're safe for everybody.
Anything that you've seen of interest in the vaccine rollout in the UK or other parts of the world? Anything that has surprised you or interested you?
I think we just have to remember here in New Zealand that other countries are in a really quite desperate situation. They're not enjoying life like we are at the moment. I mean, yes, we can't travel and our borders are shut, but we are going about our business, right? Whereas, the death tolls are rising and hospitals are becoming overwhelmed. So they are making decisions that are quite different to ours. They will accept a vaccine that doesn't work quite as well as we would because they are in such desperate need. So it's not surprising that they're in that need. And I think, but they didn't have to get there. I guess it's a lot of decisions were made that have made the pandemic worse for some countries than it could have been.
Nice to talk to you, Susie. Thanks for your information and passion for the truth. Nice to talk to you.
Thanks, Jesse. Bye.
Bye. Thanks too to the people who've been texting in memories about that Frankie Goes to Hollywood album. My brother bought the vinyl single, Relax, by Frankie Goes to Hollywood when he was 15 years old back in 1983. But my mum took it back to the shop for a refund as she didn't agree with the gay messaging. she's now horrified that she ever thought that way. Thanks for that message. Somebody else who was in the video. Where are you? Where are you? I've just lost the message. And they met Godley and Cream, who were directing the video, and it was a 14-hour shoot. But I can't read it to you because it's just disappeared. 2101, lovely to hear from you. Thanks very much for everyone who's taking the time to get in touch. 5 years ago, Toko Manuel was inspired to share his wealth of music knowledge with young people in his community. So he established a program called Passion to Profession, which is teaching creative young people in Mangere and Otara in South Auckland the skills they need for a career in the music industry. He's also, by the way, the managing director and co-founder of the radio station Rep FM. And Toko joins me now to tell us more. Hi there.
How's it going, buddy? How are you, Jess?
Good. Nice to meet you yesterday, and thanks for accepting my invitation to come on and tell people a bit more about what you do. So this Passion to Profession, can you tell us why you wanted to start this organisation up?
Well, I suppose it comes down to, like a lot of our people out here are really passionate about music, but they don't know the business side of it. So that was my thing. That was my difference in a course was, okay, let's find what you love and let's find how we turn that into a business, whatever that is. And, there's more things than just music and rapping and producing music. There's the background, there's events, there's merchandise, there's so many other...
Oh, I was like, whoo!
Yeah. Hey, you got my back.
Yeah. Full victory. There's a problem with this.
Alright, everyone, victory.
Yeah, well, do you want to do it first?
Yeah, before this.
Just, we're going to go this way first, and then we'll turn around to them.
Kia ora whānau, thank you everybody for coming. Coming to this really historic occasion. We know that this has been brewing for some time now, so it's finally good to be able to come together and actually, put some closure to this part of the whole process. So finally the government came out to announce that they've purchased the whenua from Fletcher's. This has been a 6-year journey in the making, and I think every single one of you should be proud of the success that we've been able to achieve over the last few years. Today we make our response or our announcement to the rest of the motu and to the ministers about how we feel, and to acknowledge everybody who's been part of this. And so we're really stoked that we get to share that all with you today.
So just for those of our whānau and our extended whānau that are here, not for the media, after we finished our media stand-up, all of us will go out onto the whenua and we'll have a karakia. So when we're done here, we'll start making our way in that direction. Just us. Ka pai?
Dana, you want to say something?
Go.
No.
Ka? Okay, I'd just like to also
it won't plug in actually because
thank Tania and Chani and our whānau, all of our whānau who have stood here, Manaki, our visitors that have come to our whenua. It has been a long road, and I'm just really, really proud of all the work that's been put into Te Ao Whenua because of that. So, kia ora whānau. Put your smiley faces on, don't pick your nose.
Let's all think about the party! The returning party.
Ka pai. All right. Come closer. Oh, didn't they give you enough time? Jump in.
Tēnā tātou, tēnei au te rutu nei ki te kōpapa o tōku tūpuna, papa tuanuku I aitia nei ērangi. Ka puta ki waho he atua, ka puta ki waho he tangata, ka puta ki waho, ko au I tākina mai nei e tangaroa, ko au he tāpapa nei runga I tēnei puke arā, ko tapoko tōna ingoa, ko te puke tāpapatanga ahape, uhi tai uhi e. Ko te atua tō tātou piringa ka puta kaura. E rere tonu ana ngā mihi ki tō tātou kingi Māori tūheitia pō te tau te wherowhero te tuawhitu ki tōna hurewa tapu. Me te whare kā hui ariki. Arā, ko te ki, ko te whitiki o te kotahitanga. Ko ia tēnā e whakatinana hea I te kotahitanga. I wainga I a tātou te iwi Māori. Nō reira, tēnei ngā mihi e rere tonu ana ki aia. me te marama I te kite. I te whakatinanatanga o te kotahitanga, I roto I te ao Māori. Mārama te kite I te mana nui o te kaupapa o te kingitanga. Nō reira, pai maarire ki a rātou. Ki ngā mate huhua o te motu, ngā mate o te tau, ngā mate o te marama, ngā mate o te rangi tonu nei. Rātou ko takahi te ara kuiti ki a hine nui te pō haere, haere whakangaro atura. Ka hoki mai ki a tātou, ngā kanohi ora, ke ngaku whānau, ke ngaku rangatira, aku ruruhi, aku koroheke, e mihi ana. Kia koutou nau mai hoki mai. E mihi ana ki te hunga mā takitaki, tēnei te mihi atu ki a koutou. He nui ngā mihi ki te tuku I tēnei rā whakahirahira mo tātou te iwi Māori, mo tātou te hunga rangatahi, mo tātou te hunga whakapono iti. Nō reira, rere tonu ana ki te kingi, te whare kāhui ariki. Rere tonu ana ngā mihi ki te hunga hara mai, ko takahi mai I runga I tēnei whenua. Mai te rā 23 o Hurai, tainoa ki tēnei rā. 508 ngā rangi, ko taha ake nei. Ko whāngai te hari, ko whāngai te koa, mo tēnei whenua. Mo tēnei whenua haumako o tātou. Nō reira, kei ngā mana, kei ngā reo, kei ngā kārangaranga maha, koutou, te hunga koutou, kaha tautoko I tēnei kaupapa, e kore ngā kupu, e kore ngā mihi e mutu ki a koutou katoa. Me te mihi hoki, mārama te kite, te mana nui o te wahine, e tūtia ki whenua, e tūtia ki maungana, huri noa I te ao Māori. So e rere tonu ana ngā mihi, ki te mana nui o te wahine. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, huri noa, I tō tātou maunga, o puke ruke, tēnā koutou katoa.
Kia ora tahi. Introduce yourself in Ngāti Sahinga.
Kia ora. Kia ora. My name is Nero Nyaha, and you might already know Ngāti Tahinga Wilson. We are the co-chairs of our Ngāti Te Waru Trust that works in conjunction with the marae and these types of kaupapa. Yeah. Do I just read my statement? Ngāti Te Waru celebrates the resolution to protect the whenua and papakainga of Ihumātao. This is a momentous occasion for us as whānau of Makaurau Marae and for those of us that live at our papakainga of Ihumātao. Ngāti Te Waru is the principal hapu of te puketā papatanga a hape or Ihumātao as it is known today. Ngāti Te Waru consists of 4 hapu being Ngāti Tangiaro, Ngāti Rori, Ngāti Kaiawa and Ngāti Pēhi. Last night, many of our whānau met at the marae, and we are overjoyed that we have finally reached this resolution. This is a huge turning point for us as Ngāti Te Ahiwaru. In many ways, it is the beginning to recognise the injustices endured by the whānau and hapu of Ihumātao. We acknowledge the courage and tenacity and amazing work of our whānau, who are our nieces and nephews, who initiated and led the recent reclamation movement over the past 6 years. They follow the legacy of our tūpuna and our elders, who always fought to be recognised, heard and valued as tangata whenua at Ihumātao. We are so proud of our whānau. We recognise the many allies and supporters of Soul, as well as those who travelled near and far for our kaupapa. We are so proud of our whānau who continue to lead and maintain a peaceful, passive and positive protection of the whenua. This is a turning point for us as Ngāti Te Ahiwaru and whānau of Makaurau Marae. We can begin to heal and reconnect with our whenua, concentrate on our whānau and focus on our aspirations for the future and our mokopuna. We are excited about the next stage and look forward to engaging in the tikanga approach to ensure that we are able to sustain our ability to be ahika and fulfil our role and responsibilities as kaitiaki. Makaurau Marae Māori Trust, who represents the hapu of Ngāti Te Ahiwaru, have always been in support of our kaupapa and our whānau who led us through this journey. Now it is our time to step forward and continue our supporting roles to see our whānau into the future. How this might look is up to our whānau. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. So, kia ane matata sipu.
Pania Newton.
And we are the co-spokespeople for Soul, for the Protect Ihumātao campaign, and for our whānau of Makaurau Marae and the Ihumātao Papakainga. We just firstly want to mihi, just to follow on from Ngāti Tahinga earlier, we want to mihi to Kingi Tuheitia, Pōtatau Te Whero Te Tua Whetū, and his team of representatives who have led the process to where we are today in seeing the resolution, or this part of the resolution for Ihumātao. We really want to acknowledge every single person who has come to Ihumātao over the last 6 years, who has supported this campaign, who have supported us, who have stood in solidarity with us, whether it was here on the whenua or overseas, because we know that there were many of our Indigenous whānau overseas who stood with us. We want to acknowledge our kaumātua and our kuia who have passed on over these last 6 years, of which there were a number of them, who were all fully supportive of seeing this whenua resolved and the take of this whenua resolved. And today is about acknowledging them and the influence that they had in us carrying this movement over the last 6 years. We would love to celebrate the resolution that was made formal today and announced today. We also want to make it very clear that this is not the end, that this is an important part of an ongoing process, and that this resolution is the beginning of the next phase in the process. And that's a really positive step for us in moving forward in what has been happening here in Ihumātao. On behalf of Awaropu, on behalf of the Protect Ihumātao whānau, on behalf of our whānau in the Papakainga and of Makaurau Marae, we just want to say thank you. Because while we stand here and front these types of things, it is all of those people who have contributed to this kaupapa over the years that have led us to be here today. Some of their names you will never know, but they have all had a significant impact on us getting to where we are. And that is the biggest thing that we want to say in our response to the resolution is thank you. Okay? Questions?
Tanya, what are your overwhelming feelings today about this news? I'm just really proud of our whānau and all of those who came to support this kaupapa over the many years. And you know, I've been experiencing mixed feelings since getting the news of the announcement, and so I'm still kind of processing. I'm both happy but sad at the same time that it took so long, and some of those who started this kaupapa with us have now passed on, and so yeah, it's sad to think about that, but also I'm looking forward to really celebrating this achievement with our whānau and our marae, and really looking forward to the next stage.
Do you have concerns about that next phase, and what would that be?
No, I'm really confident that the kingitanga will provide safe korowai for those of us going into that process. We're confident who ahika are, and we're confident that we have the support of our marae and our whānau. So we're really looking forward to that process taking place, and we really look forward to determining too what the aspirations that our whānau and our marae have for our whenua.
What is your vision for this whenua? What sort of housing do you see here?
I wouldn't say that we are necessarily interested in housing. Maybe we're interested in improving the existing housing footprints on this whenua. But again, like our whānau really haven't had an opportunity to discuss what kind of aspirations they have for the whenua. I'm sure we will get that done in the next stages before us. But yeah, I think most of the conversations have been around preserving and conserving this cultural heritage landscape.
Anya, do you have any concerns with the Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern not fronting this issue today?
No, I'm not really concerned that the Prime Minister... my focus hasn't really been on what the Prime Minister is necessarily up to. I can understand and appreciate that, you know, she's busy. My focus has been on protecting the whenua and ensuring that our whānau get this time to celebrate this success. I'm sure we'll have some thoughts to share about the Prime Minister in time to come, but all we can say is that we are relieved that the government have finally come out and made their announcement, because that is the first step in trying to heal the heartache that lays across this whenua and in the hearts of our whānau.
In terms of that next resolution, that next phase, last week you and many others had actually met with Kingitana last week. What was explained in that tweet with Taputi Moana and Rahui around that agreement?
Which meeting are you referring to?
It was the same week with Rahui spoke to us today about it.
Oh, the tikanga-led process week. Oh, sorry, there's been a number of weeks. So the tikanga kingitanga-led process is the next phase in order to work out who has ahika status here, of the number of rōpū that have claimed ahika status, to then determine who will sit on the rōpū whakahaere. It has, like every hui we've had with kingitanga, been a very positive experience. We're very confident in the process moving forward, and we're very settled in knowing that that process is going to work for everybody and is going to be a fair process, but most importantly is going to be a for Māori by Māori process, and that's the most important thing.
Does it also give you, I guess, a sigh of relief, given that they also said that they also want to listen to ahika, all ahika? There's been much concern around that issue.
Yeah, most definitely. It has been, you know, more than 160 years that the ahika voice has been silenced here in Ihumātao. And so to have an opportunity for that ahika voice to be loud, to be amplified, to have the majority of numbers within the rōpū whakahaere is so significant and is so important for our whānau. It goes towards, as Pania said, it goes towards healing that mamai and that intergenerational trauma that has taken place here in Ihumātao, not just in relation to this particular whenua, but to the ongoing desecration and degradation of our awa, our moana, our whenua, our papakainga, and this is one simple step that we're making in a very positive direction to enable our whānau to reclaim their orangatanga and to thrive, and that is hugely significant.
I also want to also speak to you, Ngāti Kahina. You also have the mandate to also speak on behalf of the marae of Makaurau directly to the Kingitana. What is your interest, I guess, for the whānau who have been, I guess, occupying and also fighting for the return of the land?
What is the interest?
What are your views
For this?
moving forward as you have the mandate to speak on behalf of all marae?
Oh, just looking forward to the process going forward. I've got total belief in this process. It's a tikanga Māori process. So yeah, in your question regards to the people staying on the whenua, can you ask that again?
On the kaupapa, the campaign of Soul going forward into this next phase?
Soul Makaurau have been one, it's all one whānau, so how we move is how we move together.
Yeah, kia ora.
Will people remain on the land going forward now?
We haven't really decided on what the future of those of us staying on the whenua will be, or what will happen to these beautiful structures. They would make beautiful monuments, in my thoughts. But as I said before, our focus has really been on, processing the announcement, and then I'm sure we'll get into those discussions moving forward. But this announcement is going to open so many opportunities for our whānau to stay involved with the maintenance and the upkeep and the preservation and conservation of our whenua. So I'm rest assured our whānau who are on the whenua that they're not going to be, homeless or whatever, that, there's always a place for everyone and each of us.
Are you concerned about the emphasis the government has put today on stressing that this is not a treaty settlement? Does that worry you?
Oh, absolutely, because if we go back to how the Special Housing Area 62 was designated, it is an obvious breach of Te Tiriti o Waitangi, and so to show that disregard is somewhat concerning. But we can't control what the governments say or what they do.
But was that something you guys really pushed to have said differently? Because it's quite notable, and I imagine it doesn't sit comfortably with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think by announcing what they had announced today is a step in honouring Te Tiriti o Waitangi. Not in the way that that would have been ideal for us, but we can only do what we can. But yeah, it was somewhat disappointing to hear that disregard for the treaty aspects of this struggle.
Kua ki ke koutou, tēnā koutou katoa, kua ki ke koutou he tīmatanga mai ho tēnei, nā reira he hana whakaaro kei roko i tō ngākau i tēnei.
Ki te rere tonu ngā whakaaro, kei te koa, kei te hari, kei te pauri, engari he wā hei whakapiki wairua, he wā hei whakapiki oranga, he wā whakangāhau,
Kau kei te hikaka katoa te ngākau, ko te tirohanga ake, kua nei ko te krihimete, me te tauhau Pākehā, nō reira me whakangāhau mātou te whānau, anō rā ngā whānau puta noa i te motu, te rātou ka kimi hiaha ngā ara kei mua i a mātou, hiaha te rautaki mo tō mātātou whenua me ki, nō reira koira kei a mātou tēnei wā ka hoki mahara ki a rātou kua wheturangi tia hoki na kia rātou i hikoi i tēnei hikoi ngā tino roa, i mua i o mātou tainga mai, ki te ao huri nei hoki, nō reira, ai ka whakaro ki a rātou, pauri te ngākau, hari koa, ai kei te huri te puku, te rarawa, te ngākau i tēnei wā, engari, ko te nuinga ngā kārea roto i tēnei wā, he hari, he miharo, he hikaka. Ko tāku kia rātou, e kore te punaro hai e mimiti mo rātou, tō mātou whānau me ki, ki te kore ko rātou, kore ko mātou, ki te kore ko rātou, kāre mātou tae te tutuki i tēnei whainga, kua tutuki i tēnei rā, e ai ki te kōrero e harataku toa e te tuataki tahi, engari he tuataki tini, anei te hua, nō reira, ai nā mātou te whiwhinga nui ra wātu.
Ka mutu hea te hia, hea te paitawhiti, te in-game, hea te hea.
Ka hoki ki te tongi kura me ki a tāwhia i hoki i riro whenua atu, me hoki whenua mai.
Hia nā whaina, nā moe o tō marae o tō hapu, i ki mai koe rā nā huatana me ki whakarite i a koutou anō. Kia ha tō tirohana me ki mō te mana whenua, haere ake nei roto I tēnei whakaetana e te kinitanga.
Ko te whaenga matu o te ahika, ko te kotahitanga, kia noho kotahi ki te tepu kotahi, kia whakawhiti kōrero e pāna ki tō tātou whenua, me pewhia te anga whakamua I roto I tēnei tūkanga tikanga nei. Nō reira, ai, koena.
Nō reira ka tautoko tonu koe me ke I nā kaupapa I kōkiri ki atu I nei tēnei whenua e te ahika?
Tautoko marika. Hoki atu ki aku kōrero, he wā, hei kohi, whakaaro kohi rautaki, kia anga whakamua ai tahi tātou. Ai nui, roa te wā, ko āhua wehe, te iwi nei, o reira ko tai ki te wā ki te whakatā, kia piki te wairua, piki te kaha, kia hoki atu ki te tepu, kia whai rautaki anō kia anga whakamu.
Tērā hoki etahi pōhehe tana mai te rāhina kua hipai pāna ki tērā haina tana o te whakatau na tiriti I raro me ki I nā takipai moana o tai hauauru I raro o Waikato Tainui e mea ana me whakapapa koe ki tētahi tip I nā kate moho tātou ki etahi o nā kaupapa I pui ake I tēnei tau e pāna ki tērā kia ki tō tirohana kia ki a koe.
Ko tērā atu kaupapa tērā, ko tāku noi ho kōrero ana mo tēnei kaupapa. So, ko tāku ano, kei te hoki atu ki te tepu, ki te whai rautaki kia anga whakamua I tātou.
What learnings do you hope will come from this? You know, it hasn't been a first dispute and likely won't be the last. Do you have any learnings that you'd like to see?
I think that developers need to properly engage with Māori and the communities in which they are looking to develop in. I think that non-Māori organisations should take heed of Te Tiriti o Waitangi and their obligations and responsibilities under that. And I think we should never underestimate the power of rangatahi and the power of whānau.
And I just want to add to that, while the developers need to take heed, the policymakers need to take heed. We have to remember that the Special Housing Areas Act was what designated this land to be able to go up for development. And that act in itself didn't include things that honour Te Tiriti o Waitangi, like consulting with Māori at that policy decision-making stage. And so we need to understand that Te Tiriti o Waitangi is never and has never been written to be settled. It has been written to be honoured. And how do we honour that in our everyday practice? How do we honour that in the policies that are being written? How do we honour that in our laws? How do we honour that at an organisational level and at a whānau level? That's really significant and a huge learning that everybody can take from this.
So this is the Fletcher's land or the Wallace land. What about the rest of the land that's within this particular special housing area? What happens with that?
This is the land that's within the special housing area.
There's more though, isn't there?
The special housing area is the Wallace block. That's a designated special housing area.
How will you be celebrating tonight, today, this afternoon? What's your plan?
So following this kōrero, we as a whānau will hikoe to the maunga and we will karakia. It'll be an opportunity for us to settle the wairua. It'll be an opportunity for us to reconnect with that whenua, to reconnect with our tupuna. We have been very clear that this whole kaupapa has been guided by our tupuna. And it's an opportunity for us to go and acknowledge our tupuna, to acknowledge the whenua. And I don't even have the word for what it is, but you know, as Pania had said earlier, our pukus are all twisted and turned, and I think it'll be an opportunity for us to be tau.
Yeah. I think some of us could do with a bit of a moi as well, a bit of a sleep. Those who have been on the front lines for the past 508 days, we're looking forward to maybe letting our guard down a little bit and just really basking in the success of...
Will the roadblocks still remain in place?
Oh, that's for the whānau to decide, and we've discussed that we'll enter into those sorts of kōrero following today.
Do you trust the government?
We trust the kingitanga, and we trust the leadership of the kingitanga, and that's where we have put our faith through this whole process.
So not the government?
The kingitanga.
I think for us, we can only ever hope that the government will do the right thing. But we don't have to look too far back in our history to see what kind of examples have been set for Māori in particular. I think there's nothing wrong with whānau, young people, anyone really being encouraged to protect our cultural heritage landscapes or to protect our maunga, our awa and our environment. I think that, these are scaremongering tactics and it's a narrative out there to place fear in the nation, but we should celebrate that this is not only a win for our whānau or the or Makaurau Marae, but this is a win for all of Aotearoa.
Prime Minister said that she would visit once the resolution is made. When do you expect her to come?
I'm not too sure yet. Our focus isn't there. We're just really focusing on celebrating the success of today and really planning for what's ahead. I think that question should be asked to the Prime Minister herself.
Any last questions? No, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, whānau. Also, just a mihi to all of you who have been here over the last 508 days. I know that we're often in this position, but just a mihi to you for also battling the elements with us over these last year and a half. So kia ora koutou.
Kia ora, tēnā koutou.
Correct spelling of your guys' names.
So you're